Big why. Number 2, dig deeper. What's up, potential homeowners? It's Roberta with Home Buyers Inventory, coming to you again with another bit of insight on how to move yourself from where you are to where you want to be. Today we're still talking about how to go from being a renter to moving into being a homeowner. Today I wanted to expand on something we talked about the last time with the big why. We've talked about going through the 5 levels and asking why 5 times in order to really dive down deep. I want to take a little bit of meta-analysis from that as well, where you're able to then get into why it's so important to do that. You know, John shared with us that there was a time when his wife came home just really frustrated from the job. This was when she was working her 9-to-5 job. And she also has the role of being a mom, and between those two things, it really pulls her apart. John said she was having cognitive dissonance. I don't even know what it means, but he said the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. Well, this, to a degree, highlighted for John, how it made him fearful. And he wondered why. Why did this upset him? Well, come to find out that there's things in the past for him that he feels he could have done to help his wife. Maybe he could have prevented her from having to have a job if he knew his big why. So maybe some of you feel that same way. If you knew your big why, then could you transition things in your life? Could you make them different? Could you have the dream of home ownership that you want? You see, when we do our big why, it helps us illuminate those things that drive us, those things, the big why that motivates us. Otherwise, we often just go through what we call our normal day with all these habits, and we don't even know why we're doing something. It's just what we've always done, or at least it seems that way. Today, I was talking to a potential tenant that is going into one of our homes, and she finally got to a point in her life that she had just had enough, and she needed to understand why she was doing the things she was doing. She had rented for 4 years in the same house. She had just thought, I'm putting $43,000 a year into a house that's never going to be mine. I cannot make it my own. And, even though she had a good relationship with her landlord, they never had any intention of selling that house. So she had just gotten to the point where she understood what her big why was. And now she's making a move into one of our homes, which she'll be able to have, within the next year, 2.5. She'll make that house her own, and she'll move from being a renter into home ownership, but she couldn't and didn't do it until she understood what her big why was. So in reality, we've developed the everyday, okay, this is just what I do type habits over time. So it is going to take a very intentional and an active process to keep that in front of us, to continually develop ourselves in the way to become the person that we need to be when we're moving from the one point of where we are to the one point of where we want to be. And I imagine a lot of you may feel the same way as I did. I know when I'm working through it in my head and I'm trying to figure out my own stuff, and again, often it starts in your head and then it comes to, fruition later. But I know when I'm working through it and trying to figure it out, I have to keep it at the forefront. I just want to encourage you to keep it in your mind when you're going through the big why. Understand you're able to dig deeper into something that you may never even have asked yourself the question before. But now, with a big goal of owning a home, you're starting to find why you want that big goal. And it helps you analyze the things that you need to do in order to transition. In going through the process of the big why and asking yourself, why do I want it? What is my big why reason I want to go from being a renter to being a homeowner? That'll show you the path by illuminating the reasons. That's the process. That's what it does. And I hope the big why exercise, I'll call it for the lack of a better word, I hope learning this process continues to be something awesome in your life. I was able to use it to transition really every compartment of my life. The only one I haven't done yet is my whole emotional leading thing, but finances and just relationships and the work that I do and the career that I have, which is, helping people get into homes that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do and move from being a renter to a home buyer. And all of those things that came from doing the big why and understanding the big why for me, and why did I want to go from where I was in those compartments of life to where I wanted to be. So I hope this continues to be something awesome in your life. And if learning more is something that you're interested in, I have a workbook that I use, and I can help. You need to leave a comment, leave us some questions that you have if there's a certain point in your life that that path has been illuminated, or on the opposite side, fear that you've had to overcome because you're going through a process like this. Share it below, let other people know, and of course, let us know. Your sharing will be a give back to others from something that you've been learning. I was talking to my sister the other day, and, rest in peace, her husband, who passed a couple of weeks ago. And the hospice people were indicating to her that maybe she wanted to go to a grief group. And she was like, I don't know. I don't really want to share. And I said, Patty, this isn't about you. It's about the fact that you can share with other people what you're going through, and that's going to help them. And then I asked her where it was being held, and she said the Cancer Society. And I said, well, that's even double whammy, because she has had breast cancer and she's gone through that. I said, imagine what you can do by sharing your experiences, your fears, your joys, your transition in your life path in those two areas, the grief of losing a spouse as well as the cancer. What you can do to give back to others from something that you've been learning just because you can share. And she's like, I never thought about it that way. So I encourage you to share and give back, because that's what it will be doing. So like us on our Facebook page, leave comments. Also go to our blog at www.homebuyersinventory.com, because we'd love to see you over there.